say God. It's all right to call you God.
My brother, just to clarify, for example, when we talk about Jesus Christ, when the Byzantine Empire decided to make Christianity its religion of choice, it wasn't the first. The Armenians were actually first in 301 AD. But they had huge debates about the nature of Christ. So to think that people have always seen religion in some different way isn't a far-fetched concept. And I think what's more important than what you believe is God, or what anybody on this panel believes is God, is how that belief affects their life. Because I've known Muslims, Jews, Christians, people my whole life, and some of them are righteous, and some of them are as wicked as what we would call the devil himself. And it doesn't matter what you call God, if that God isn't making you a better human being and a better person and a better brother, sister, husband, son, whatever it may be. So I say to you, whatever you choose to do, whether you choose to expand the amount of knowledge you have about the history of religion and the history about God, it's really about what you make it apply to your life. Because if we talk about all these sciences, brothers and sisters, if we talk about all these things that we've understood and these secret hidden meanings of things, unless we apply that to helping our people, to helping our children grow, instead of abusing them and taking knowledge away from them and taking resources away from them, then we're not being godly.
That's right. I got a question over in the corner right here. Question.
I just want to say, first off, thank you. You can hear me, right? Okay. There was a lot of knowledge that came out this evening, and I just want to say one thing: we get beyond words to get into the future and whatnot. I say this with love too, because I'm look at my skin, pale skin, white cat, right? My parents came from Ireland, technically part of Europe, and one other person spoke about Europeans eating their babies, and there was a writer named Jonathan Swift during the Irish potato famine, when it wasn't really a famine at all. It was an economical construct that kind of made it limited for certain Irish people to eat, and so they starved. And so Jonathan Swift talked about eating babies, but he said that in satire, And I only raised my voice to one sense, because I know most of us here are above that, but just to kind of say that, because right now I see just color of skin, only white cat here, but it's beyond that, right? So get beyond that.
I'm dead right now because the Irish and the black gangs took me in under their wings, and all the other people tried to kill me. So when I use that term, I'm not using it in satire. But when I went to Ireland, I saw something interesting, and it has to do with the Moors, and that's that you have people there with green eyes and red hair, and their hair is like they describe Jesus in the Bible, like wool. Okay, and I always found that very interesting, that the Irish were so black, and that they actually used a term called the Black Irish, but even the people with red hair had wool-like hair. It was like wool. So yes, I'm aware of the Irish. I'm aware of the fights against the Catholics, the Protestants, against the Queen of England and the Babylonians, and her connection through the bloodline, thanks to Brother Phil, of all the presidents, including Obama, related to the Queen War, which they call in the Bible Mystery Babylon. So I'm very much aware of it. We accept your spirit, and we love you in spite of how I say in 2 weeks, and you watch and see if it happens or not.
I just say I recently got back from Dublin and Belfast, and I journeyed out there. It was interesting to read the works of a man named James Connolly, who proposed that the British brought in a feudal system that was unknown to what he called the indigenous tribes of Ireland at the time, and to see not just how race politics plays into the shaping of the world, but also how the economic system of what we call capitalism that descends from feudalism and the slave tactic to control people's land is what caused a lot of the crises that exist there, because the Protestant and the Catholic facade is really an issue that started with land. It's a land issue. They didn't come to enslave Africans because they cared about your soul and convert you to Christianity. They wanted your labor. They didn't kill Native Americans because they wanted to ennoble them with the Christian religion. No, they wanted their land. So the issue in Ireland is about land. It's never been about Protestantism or Catholicism.
Can I just make an observation and have a quick one? It's interesting how we sat right here and watched the brother say two things. He said, I'm Irish American, I'm an Irish, and then he sat there and said, I'm white. Do you understand? It makes the point. So that's what I wanted to say to him, and then he said, later we became white, because white is a label, it's a status, I'm sorry. Right, and you're telling us the history, thank you, because it is not, you're not identified, people, human beings are not identified by colors. That's why later it became that. And I just thought that was interesting, John.
Yes, and of course, you know the history of the Moors and the Dubs, and you know, the 17th, we ran the snakes out of Ireland, us, that's when they fell. So we know the Moorish history. And the real deal is, you know, that we need to know the real history, that's all. And that you are our children. You know, it's no big deal, like Brother Ernie was saying. The biggest problem with the people right now is this identity crisis. They keep trying to be somebody who they're not. They're Moors, that's just simply it. Just be yourself. We just broken up into extended families. Now I want to say one thing, because this, Brother Cassius, because basically, you know, the spirit that you're coming from, and the spirit that the brothers come from, because this is the major thing. How can we apply all this God stuff that we're talking about right now? What can we use, like the brother was saying, how are you going to feed yourself? This is what, you know, we can talk about what we were and the many names. We know that we were many names. The issue is, what can you apply today that's effective? Now, the last legal title of these people that are called Negro, Blacks, Colored, Latinos, West Indians, whatever they call themselves this week, is Moor. That's on the records of the planet, of all the governments on the planet. That, and like the brother was saying earlier, Masonry is your history going underground. That's why anyone who rules must be a Mason. You need to understand this. It doesn't mean that we're supporting or condemning anything. If you don't understand the logistics of what's running your life right now, you can't fix it. Now, I know that we were called also black Moors, but black was the adjective and Moor was the proper noun. Like Dr. Muhammed said, you need to understand etymology. Now, be yourself. The longest running treaty in the world with any nation is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Marrakesh. That is what's running this government now. The Constitution for this government of the United States Republic of North America is handed down from Moorish law. That's why the pyramid is on the back of that fiat note. And you're not going to rise politically and economically being other than who your forefathers were. And that's just simply it. Now, the reason I said this to you, and this is in harmony with what the brother is saying, you know, we don't need to come and know our belief systems. As you can see, every time you get into this God thing, it gets into a whole bunch of generalities and what your idea of it is, and there's a whole bunch of vagaries. Why? Because it is vague. Because the concept is a fraud, and you won't admit the hypocrites that you've been, because you don't know what the hell God is. Now, let's stop that. Now, you're Moors. There's laws that apply to you, and the reason I brought this, Brother Cassius, Lord Cassius, and that's a title too.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It is.
Sorry.
No Cassius. Now, I just want to show you, I think I brought some here. I meant to anyway, but I want to show you. These are some of the receipts. Now when I buy something, just look at the part that says tax. Look at the part that says tax, and what does it say? Yeah, but what does it say where it says tax?
It's tax exempt.
It's 0-0. That's applying your identity. In other words, I'm showing you, the people already know. You don't need to believe this. You can function with it. And that's what the brother's saying. And so I'm demonstrating to you what's applicable. You don't need to believe anything, but be yourself. We were Lemurians, but that's not who you are.